Okay, hello, and thank you for joining us for Giving Tuesday. I am Sarah Grace Moore, president of Impact 100, and we have a really simple but really incredible uplifting hour ahead of us. Just a few points of housekeeping before we begin. We are on a Zoom meeting, not a webinar, so please be sure that your speaker is muted and your camera is off if you're not speaking, to make sure that we're seeing the important people, quote unquote, even though we're all important here today. We also have some great volunteers womaning the chat, so feel free to comment or add questions at any time. And please be sure to share your experiences today using social media shown here. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. While we can't be physically together, this is a small way we can connect and share our excitement. So we have to take a moment to do this big thank you. We just could not do the work we do in the community without our sponsors. Their support ensures we can keep 100% of member dollars within our grant pool. And their support means more now than ever. So if you can find your little emojis, and if we can take a moment to give them a virtual round of applause, that would be fantastic. Especially I want to mention MH Equipment, our big impact sponsor, also High School, Next Step Networking, sorry Aaron, Pro Bono Partners of Ohio, and Stifel. I always get that one wrong too, man. Last event of the year and I'm like bungling it already. So anyway, thank you so much to our sponsors. We really, really, really appreciate you. So really quickly, who is Impact 100? Who are we? Impact 100 is a group of over 540 women. We range in age from teens to 80s. We have diverse backgrounds and career choices. There are 80 zip codes represented in our membership base from Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. Yet in spite of all these differences, we come together because we have the same desire to transform our community by collectively awarding grants to worthy nonprofits. Our members fund the grants, review the grants, and review the grant applications and decide which agencies will ultimately receive the grant. So it's a very empowering process, that's for sure. And while it seems simple, it's very complicated, but for you, it's very simple how it works. Each member contributes an annual donation of $1,000, or in some cases $500, and we pool those dollars together into very large grants of a minimum of $100,000. This is what is called a collective giving grant making organization. That's what Impact 100 is. These grants fund major programs and projects that have a transformative, sustaining impact in our community. While few of us can individually donate $100,000 every year, when we pool our resources in this way, we are able to multiply our giving impact to the community and fund huge breakthrough projects. And I have to say, Giving Tuesday is my favorite event of the Impact 100 calendar. It's a moment to pause, celebrate, and give thanks for all this year has brought to our organization, including 4 new nonprofit partners. So I'd like to turn it over to Cindy Gibbons, our nonprofit partner, or our nonprofit coordinator, excuse me, and our newest grantees. Take it away, Cindy.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. And I'd like to introduce you all to all 4 of our grant recipients from 2020. And each one will give you a small, brief presentation. And then after each of the presentations, all 4 of them, then we will have the opportunity to ask a few questions of each of them. So first up, we have Joel Bockelman from Changing Gears, and their impact project was an expansion of the bridge program. So take it away, Joel.
Great, thank you, Cindy, and thank you to all the Impact 100 members. Let's see, I think we're still good there. So anyways, thank you to all the Impact 100 members. Since we were chosen as a grant recipient back in September, since then we've worked through the grant agreements, got everything signed and worked through, and we got our first payment on November 20th. There's that picture of Cindy stopping by and having a nice little celebration with us. So we're currently working on purchasing 10 more Toyota Yaris's for our bridge program. So we'll be able to restore them and have them ready to go when clients are graduating from industry training programs at CityLink Center. The disruption to industry training programs has been the biggest impact of the coronavirus pandemic on Changing Gears, especially for the Bridge program. For IT training, Perscolas has been able to continue some of their classes because they were able to make the switch to all virtual. For culinary, has been put on hold indefinitely. As you all know, the restaurant industry was one of the worst hit industries as part of the pandemic, so they have had to hit pause on the Finley culinary training. For construction training, this was put on hold, but hiring is starting to pick back up. And Cornerstone Construction Training, which is the biggest source of Bridge program clients, is starting their next class in February. So we're really excited about that, so we can start getting some more Bridge clients and into those awesome Toyota Yaris's. We knew training programs would be paused as we were going through this pandemic, but this is the big thing we didn't anticipate, that they would need to be paused for this long. So I hope this is the light at the end of the tunnel when these training programs can start picking back up. I know Impact 100 members love to volunteer, but this was another impact of the pandemic, is that we had to pause all of our in-person volunteer opportunities, things like teaching workshops and detailing cars. So I'll be sure to let Cindy know when we're able to host volunteers again, so she can get that out to Impact 100 members and see if there's a volunteer opportunity that you'd be interested in. We are looking for board and committee members, especially for folks that have expertise in development and nonprofit legal. So if that's something that interests you, please, you can reach out directly to me, and we'll see if that would be a good fit. Also, I can't pass on an opportunity like this to mention that another great way to support Changing Gears is through car donations, and that's how we get a lot of our support. So if you or someone you know has a car that you don't want or need, we can use that car to accomplish our mission. And seriously, we can use any car in any condition. You know, all the great stuff is there. We tow it away for free, and you get a great tax deduction, but we'll be able to use it directly to help one of our programs. In 2020, there were obviously lots of challenges, but there were still great things to celebrate, like becoming a new Impact 100 grant recipient. So I can't wait for 2021 so we can start putting these grant funds to use and get back to serving more and more clients through all of our programs. So again, to everyone, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. We appreciate you. Okay, next up, we have Adriana Kowich from Gateway Community College, and their Impact 100 project was the college pantry expansion. Adriana, welcome.
Hi there, and turning on the video so I can see, well, you can see my lovely face, hopefully. Hi, everybody. It's great to see so many familiar names on the call. Please, again, allow me to thank you first for selecting us as the recipient in 2020. Boy, what a strange year. Question that we were posed is, how have we been impacted? And let me just count the ways. I know everybody has, but what's kind of been the silver lining for us at Gateway Community Technical College is to really see us rise to the occasion and continue to offer services and our core mission, which of course is education and instruction virtually, and not to sacrifice quality as part of that. What I want to highlight is that, you know, one of the things that we talked about as we made our case to you is that we serve a lot of non-traditional students, which means folks who are balancing life constraints along with trying to get their education. And so when the mass furloughs began in the service industry and retail industries as a result of the pandemic, our students were really impacted by that. So what we saw as a result of that is an uptick in our requests for services, food pantry being one of them. At the same time, this whole issue of access has become a bit more complicated because initially we didn't have anyone on campus. We were entirely virtual, although the food pantry remained open, but we were making appointments to meet with students and make sure that they got the supplies that they needed. when we started the fall semester, we had kind of a hybrid approach. So some students on campus, but again, not nearly as many as we would have in quote unquote normal times. So it's definitely been this tale of two things, which is there's a higher need just because of the economic circumstances, yet the access is more complicated because of the same thing. So, so we're navigating through that. And again, what's been super helpful, and all thanks to you, is that we have hired a part-time food pantry coordinator who is just terrific. She is bought into the mission through and through, loves our students, loves the work, and has really started to put her arms around tracking the data and the outcomes that we're going to be reporting to you about. So we're really excited about that. And I am hopeful that I can share just a few pictures. I am not able to share, but if I am, or if Cindy can do follow up with you, just to share a few faces that I really want you to sit with as I do, because they're motivating to me. And I know that this is, you know, we're equal opportunity organization, but I will tell you, the folks that we see over and over and over again who get help from the food pantry are young women with children, with young children, dependents. And so when we talk about poverty being a female issue, and young women trying to work for their education to better their families, yours was a true investment in them and a belief in them. So I can't thank you enough for that. In terms of the things that we need, as far as board service, absolutely. If you go to our site and see who's currently serving on our foundation board, we have professional services pretty well covered. You know, we have an accountant, we have folks who can offer legal advice and things like that. What we really don't have is marketing expertise on our board. And I'm not suggesting that, you know, that's the sole reason, you know, someone would want to join us. But if you have that, or have that exposure, or have an into that industry, that would be very, very helpful to us, whether it's in full, again, board representation, or through some other ways, service on committees and things like that. So we definitely see that as a need. And further for us, it's more about, you know, if education is your thing and post-secondary education is your thing, we want folks who self-select to be on our board, to be able to advocate for the mission. So that's, it's very important to me, and it's very important to us in terms of the kinds of trustees that we like to attract. What I'd like to tell you about in terms of volunteering is around and around we went to be able to today sort of offer you some options of direct service, which I know is important. But I think we, just like Joel, want to err on the side of safety and precaution. And so while there are volunteer opportunities sort of in quote unquote typical normal times, stocking the shelves and helping us with other aspects at Gateway, I'm simply just not gonna, we're just not comfortable offering those in-person opportunities just yet. But what we can do is use your help through the links in the sign-up sheet that I know Cindy will share, or may have already shared with you, in ways that you can help remotely. Certainly, if I know you're charitable, you've already given to us, but if you felt like shopping through Smile and Amazon, or and you know, doing your Kroger rewards, if you've not done that, I feel like they get a fortune from me. You know, it's another way to contribute to an organization such as ours, to really help us out. So in short, how have we been impacted by, it's been a game changer. You have been the game changer for our college and for our students. And I'm told that I can share now. So I will just quickly give you just a few folks that I said I feel like are motivating to me. You know, these are real folks who you are helping, that I, again, hope you can see some of those faces. This is Alice and her son, Joshua. They benefited from the food pantry in the past. She also lives at Lincoln Grand Scholar House, which is for allowing for free housing for women who are pursuing their education. We did a meal giveaway for Thanksgiving. And again, we're able to offer some of these options that we just simply didn't have before. So all thanks to you and what you've done for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Adriana. As many of our members know, Lincoln Grant Scholar House was also funded by Impact 100 a few years ago. So everything kind of ties together.
Yep.
Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, next up we have Dana Saxton with New Life Furniture Bank, and their impact project was New Wheels. Take it away, Dana.
Hi, everyone. It is, again, my pleasure just to see all of you, at least your names, and to be connected with you again. Like Adriana and Joel, I just thank you so much for your incredible support, and it's an honor to be here again with you today. So the burning question in regards to how COVID-19 has impacted our organization, I will say, again, like so many of our nonprofits, we are, mighty teams of pivoting over these last 6 and 8 months to adjust to the ever-changing times. Probably most recently, the most significant challenge that we've had is in keeping our staff healthy. Like I'm sure many of you, we're seeing more frequent cases of positive results. So we've had some team members that have had to be quarantined, and that often affects our services and our ability to be able to deliver furniture and pick that up. But fortunately, everyone who has been impacted has recovered well, and we have been able to maintain our service levels and be able to continue to get furniture to those families that need it. Otherwise, I think like so many of us have shared, one of the challenges is that there's a significant increase in need. And I think we all anticipate that to continue to grow into next year. And yet there are challenges in access to our services. There are challenges in continuing to disruptions in the funding that allows us to provide those services at a time when those it's so critical. And so those are sort of the things that we have been most impacted by, and that is keeping as an essential workforce who's on the road and out in the community 6 days a week, delivering furniture to as many as 30 households, keeping our staff healthy, well taken care of, making sure that we're providing all that we can in order to do so, as well as navigating the funding challenges during this time has been most significant. You're seeing a picture of our brand new truck. We are so excited to have purchased our first truck, and it went on the road and into service about mid-October. And I think the guys are all arm wrestling in the morning to see who gets to drive it, and are thrilled to have this new truck and to be able to now put 3 trucks back on the road to deliver furniture has been incredible. We had a very big November. We're at about 955 deliveries as of yesterday, and our goal was to deliver to 1,000 by the year end, and we'll definitely exceed that, and absolutely because of this truck we'll be able to do so. We are on the search for our second truck and hope to be able to purchase that in early 2021, which will again give us the ability to respond to what we believe will be an overwhelming need as we move into next year. And full economic impact of this pandemic hits our most vulnerable neighbors. So we are so appreciative of your support in enabling us to be able to purchase these trucks in groups of 10 or less. However, I'll tell you, we've had very, very few. We'll have families come occasionally or a few folks. And so particularly maybe over the month of December, when you may have some time and might be willing to come in for just an hour or come in with maybe children that you'd like to do some service work with, we would love to have you. And in just a short period of time, you can sort through some donations and pack up household boxes for families in need and make a big impact in helping us provide those items to families this month. Also, we too are certainly always open to board members. In committees, we have 4 standing committees and are looking for folks, particularly in the area of IT, systems analysts, project management, anybody who might be willing to lend some expertise in that area. That's a critical need as we move into next year. As I heard from both Joel and Adriana, we're always looking for marketing development support. And so those that might have some gifts in that area to share, we would be thrilled to talk to you about using that. You know, it's been an absolute honor to have been a part of this whole process and to have been a recipient. One of the things that has been as significant as receiving the grant has been the awareness. And I can't thank you all enough for the ways in which you have shared out our mission and the work that we do. I've heard from many of you who have furniture donations or are sharing out to your friends if they have donations to give us a call. That is by far the most critical need as we continue to see the increase in services needed. We need the furniture in order to fill those houses. And we are still, you know, a relatively unknown nonprofit in the greater Cincinnati area, and yet we are the only furniture bank. So, you know, any way in which you might be able to continue to share out with your friends, family members, coworkers, colleagues, that if they have gently used furniture or household items, don't forget pots, pans, dishes, linens. Those are all items that we need as well. We would so appreciate that. As we look into 2021, I think that will be one of our biggest challenges, is to get enough sourcing to be able to serve those families who will need our help next year. We're also always looking for those institutional donors. So if you have relationships with and or here, you know, the pandemic has certainly causing a lot of disruption in our office space and office buildings. Many of the furniture items in our lobbies, chairs, sofas, and tables could be used in a residence. We don't take office furniture, but we definitely take anything that could be used in a home. Those are also great, great opportunities for us to be able to secure some furniture to help a family in need. So appreciate all of you and your willingness to share the word about the work that we do with those that you know. I think that Cindy is going to provide you with some additional information about volunteering on our website, as well as a flyer on those different volunteer opportunities. And I'll hope to hear from many of you soon.
Thank you so very much, Dana. We appreciate you. Okay, up next, we have Emma Camaros and Wayne Williams from Women Helping Women. And their impact project was expansion of the DIVERT program.
Hello all, yes. My name is Emma Cameras and I'm the Senior Development Manager at Women Helping Women. We are so grateful for Impact 100's support and guidance and wisdom and dollars during this year. So as a quick refresher, Impact dollars went to expand our DIVERT program. Our DIVERT stands for the Domestic Violence Enhancement Response Team, and it's a program that responds 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to survivors on scene of domestic violence incidents. So right in the moment of trauma, when survivors need support the most, our advocates go on scene to support survivors in that moment. So COVID has most definitely impacted our services. We've seen a huge increase in calls into our hotline, into the number of survivors that we're seeing, and frankly, it's a really dangerous year. We're on track for the deadliest year for women in Cincinnati in over 20 years, and that is in large part due to COVID, with restrictions of where people can go and being trapped in homes with abusers. And we're seeing the need continue to increase. And so with Impact expansion dollars, we've been able to serve more survivors and reach new areas that we hadn't before. We as an agency rely so heavily on volunteers to do so much work for us. We rely on volunteers to help man our hotline calls, our text and chat services, accompany survivors to hospitals. So all of those opportunities, we would love to have you all join us for that. We offer a 40-hour training over a few weeks where folks can be trained in how to support survivors on the front line. We're always looking for people, especially in more rural areas, to support survivors to hospitals. It's such a need right now, and any time or hours you could give would be so appreciated. A few other ways that you might be able to engage with Women Helping Women. We have our holiday giving program. This is a program that we do every year to support survivors and their families. This year looks a little different, and we're providing gift cards to families so that they can, provide toys for kids, household needs, whatever that might be to really help families and survivors through this holiday season. And finally, we have two really strong community education programs. One in schools where our educators go into classrooms and teach students. This is continuing during COVID. We have online modules, and we're able to do programs virtually. If you're an educator, if you know an educator, if you have connections in schools, particularly in Cincinnati public schools, we would love to talk with you to find out how to get our curriculum to students in your life. And the other piece is Work Strong. This is our program where we go into workplaces and both help companies evaluate their policies around sexual harassment and workplace discrimination, but also on how workplaces might be able to support survivors in the workplace. We're always looking for different companies and new organizations to share that curriculum with. So if you're interested, we would love to come to your workplace or a workplace of somebody you care about and share that information. So I'm going to pass it over to Wayne, who will share a little bit more about how specifically the impact dollars have already gone to work in our community.
This has been one heck of a year. It's been a crazy year, a weird one at that. Hopefully 2021 will be a whole lot better than this year. But my name is Wayne Williams, and I am the DIVERT Director. Impact, thank you so much. Like I can't even come up with the words to just show you how much we appreciate you not only helping us, but helping survivors in our communities. So immediately before we got our first check, I went around to Green Township and Cheviot jurisdictions, and I trained our officers on how to utilize the DIVERT program. And so what I noticed from when DIVERT first launched, our program is really changing police culture. Because before they will sometimes allow the perpetrator to go ahead and walk it off before actually arresting them. So I'm really excited to not only expand to these jurisdictions to help survivors, but I'm also excited to expand to these jurisdictions to help reshape that police culture. So it's really exciting. I went around and I trained the officers. They was very pleasant and had so many questions. On top of that, I also hired 14 new divert advocates that will be responding to these jurisdictions. And the reason why Green Township and Cheviot was so important is because of we have the opportunity to serve almost 900 families within just these two jurisdictions. And it was possible with impact, financially feasible with impact dollars to do this. So again, we are now serving Green Township and Cheviot. We expanded on November the 1st. So it has literally been a month since expanding to these two new jurisdictions. And right now, what COVID has really impacted everyone, but it's also impacted survivors a lot because they are forced to be stuck in their homes and don't have a way out. We have seen the homicides increase to 12. I believe it was been 12 this year alone. And we also have seen our hotline increase a lot, our court accompaniment. So what happens is when divert, an advocate go out to divert, we have advocates that also go to court with survivors. So it has been times where I had to go down there and go to court with a survivor because of our court accompaniment has increased so much during COVID. So around April, we did have to halt divert for a month. And the reason why we had to do that is because of COVID was new to everybody. We didn't know, we wanted to make sure that our employees were safe. So we didn't know, first it was N95 masks. So we just didn't know like how to maneuver around COVID. But immediately when we was able to purchase some PPE gear, we immediately relaunched back in May 1st. So divert was down for a month. And what's crazy enough, within that month was when the most homicides happened in the city of Cincinnati. So I'm very thankful for us to be back up and running. I'm thankful to Impact for allowing us to expand and serve additional survivors and their families, because I was once that kid. Whose mother was abused and had to maneuver the court system, and Women Helping Women was there for my family. So I'm so thankful that Impact allowed us to be there for more families that we are already serving within these other jurisdictions. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And this pandemic, we all will get through.
Thank you so much, Wayne and Emma. You know, and it's just, this is a crazy year, and all of our recipients today, this year, 2020, serve the very basic needs of our people in need. You know, providing cars to get to work, providing food, providing safety, and providing furniture for an apartment or a house that would otherwise be empty. So this is a very, very special year, and I think our recipients reflect that. So I want to just circle back with Joel. I have a couple of questions for you, if you wouldn't mind. So the first question is, what is one thing about the Changing Gears program that you did not anticipate?
Yeah, I mean, touched on this a little bit, but we didn't anticipate how long the industry training programs would be shut down. That is the main source of clients for our bridge program. So we've been able to have some bridge clients still this year as they had completed earlier, but that's been the biggest thing that we didn't anticipate, that it would take this long.
Okay, secondly, when you look ahead to 2021, what do you think might be different than 2020, which hopefully COVID will be the first thing, but other than that?
Oh, clients. That's what's going to be different about 2021, is we're going to be able to serve so many more clients. And that's, I have to be careful to not wish time away, but I'm ready for 2021 to get here.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Adriana, let's move to you. Who are some of the local partners that you're working with to stock the shelves at your pantries?
So really proud of a couple of relationships we've been able to develop further than what we've had before. One is with Master Provisions, which is similar to Free Store Food Bank, organization located in Northern Kentucky that is a food bank where we obtain some of our supplies. We do also work with the Free Store Food Bank as well. One thing you may not know, I didn't know this, I'm going to tell on myself a little bit, is that other food pantries like ours actually have to buy supplies from these larger food banks. And so there's a discounted rate of kind of per poundage, if you will, that we negotiated with Master Provisions, which is super important to us. So again, kind of leveraging the money that we do have to go further. The other highlight, I guess I would make, is the just a number of organizations that have organized food drives. We've all sort of been familiar with that concept, and that's one thing that your members can do within their churches and their professional and personal networks and organizations that they're associated with. But during COVID, I think that's been one thing that I feel like people felt like they could tangibly contribute to something. And again, we organized a way to kind of sanitize these products and stock the shelves that way. We've started to work a little bit with Kroger. We're really proud of kind of the inroads we're making with them. And they've started to kind of be responsive to a few of our requests. You may not know, and I mentioned this before, if you are eligible for food stamps, which we do connect our students to that resource if they're not yet, but they're eligible, that benefit still doesn't cover personal hygiene items and household cleaning and diapers and just some of these things that are really important. So Sweet Cheeks Diaper Bank is another organization that we've started to work with to again have some of the supplies for our students, and these are often requested from us. So those are just a few I want to name, but there's been one actually I want to, in terms of fresh food offerings, the Covington Farmers Market is starting to work with us in a preliminary conversation about whether or not our students could shop, or if there's some left food produce that has not been bought, that gets offered to our students again when we have that cold storage. So exciting things all throughout.
Which actually leads me into my second question. Fresh produce is so very important.
Mm-hmm.
That the increase in the availability of fresh produce, do you also provide recipes or materials that help students prepare those foods?
We're not quite there yet, in full honesty. I think for us, just to shore up the ability to do this and kind of get our wherewithal to start to offer it. But it's on a horizon, sort of inputting pamphlets that talk about, the importance of kind of healthy nutrition, and then offering some recipes with what they have received, the combination of those specific ingredients to make a healthy, nutritious meal is something that Rosemary, who's our food pantry coordinator, is very kind of attuned to. So that is where we're headed. One thing that we did have as part of our internal United Way campaign is that we sort of looked at what do we have in our food pantry, and let's have a recipe contest. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to do some creative ideas about how to incorporate some of that into our kind of service offering. I think for us right now, it's actually stocking those bags with actual food that's fresh and nutritious. And we're certainly looking towards more education in and around that to be another offering for our students.
Okay, thank you so much, Adriana. Okay, Dana, I have a couple of questions for you. What is the data on length of staying in a home when it is furnished versus an unfurnished home?
Yeah, great question. So, according to Strategies to End Homelessness, who tracks some of the data, regarding the return to homelessness, they report that, can you see me now? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Report that an individual or a family moving into a completely vacant apartment is 3 times more likely to return to homelessness than when they're given a furnished apartment. And you know what? I think that it's kind of it certainly was a light bulb moment for me as I learned about New Life Furniture Bank. I know it was for our founder, Holly, and I hope that it was for many of you who may have first heard about New Life Furniture Bank this year through this grant application and process. Now, we talk a lot about, and certainly we've all heard about getting folks out of shelter back into permanent stable housing, and we put a lot of funding and efforts towards doing that. It never really occurred to me what happens when they get the keys to that apartment. And, how is that young mom who's fled domestic abuse, literally with the clothes on her back, going to be able to get a bed for her children or a place for them to sit or whatever, they need, which are just essential sheltering needs. And so, what we find is that without being given that, they are, again, 3 times more likely to stop staying in the apartment, go back to maybe staying at a friend's house or couch surfing, or unfortunately getting back into oftentimes the circumstances in which they fled. And so we have partnered with Strategies to End Homelessness and many of our shelters, and now nearly 50 social service agency, with a vision of ending that cycle of homelessness by making sure that every single individual or person who comes out of a sheltering situation is given an apartment that's furnished. And because we know how critical it is to their success to be able to do so. So I hope that answers that question. Did we lose you, Cindy? Did I lose you?
It looks like maybe we did lose Cindy. So I unfortunately do not have the questions we were going to ask our next. We were going to ask Emma and Wayne. I'm hoping that maybe one of my tech team can shoot over those questions.
Yes, I've got them right here. So for Dana, we had one other question. So what do you see as your biggest challenge for 2021?
Yeah, I think I did jump ahead and answer that question a little bit in my presentation, but let me just say that we talk at New Life Furniture Bank about our strategic objectives as sort of this 4-legged chair, and those 4 pillars or legs to our operations include first furniture. We aren't a furniture bank without furniture. We started as this grassroots organization where folks were just collecting furniture items in their garage and passing it out to neighbors in need. And as we continued to grow and to be able to increase those services, we recognized that there was a need to raise some funding to be able to reach more of our neighbors in need. So it's critical that we have stable funding sources in place to fuel those trucks and to pay the staff and to be able to get over 1,000 households furnished. Next year, it'll be between 12 and 1,500. And so, that's critical. The third is what we refer to as our facilities, and those are all the operational items like warehousing and trucks. So we are so thrilled to have trucks that will allow us to be able to get that furniture out. And lastly is future and building our future to become a more sustainable nonprofit. And as we look towards 2021, we certainly like all of us are uncertain as to what next year will look like. We're hopeful that it will be better than this year. And while I don't know if we'll ever return to normal, I do think that we are resilient, we are optimistic, we are passionate about serving those in need, and we'll continue to focus on those 4 pillars to provide the services that we do.
Dana, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we're going to move on to Women Helping Women, Wayne and Emma. I apologize because we're running behind schedule, so I'm only going to ask you one question, but I think it's a great one. What positive, unexpected outcomes have you seen of the Divert program? And I'm going to let you guys take it away.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I got to figure out which positive. There's so many positives of the Divert program. I will say the major positive of the Divert program is the police jurisdictions is utilizing us over 90% of the time in their jurisdiction. So that means that over 90% of their time, a survivor that is impacted by abuse is being served by a Divert advocate. The city of Cincinnati and all the other jurisdictions so far has maintained 100% usage rate for over this past year. So that means that every single survivor that is encountered with a police officer has a Divert advocate there on scene to safety plan and to provide services to them like never before.
Powerful stuff. You guys are doing great work. Thank you so much, Wayne. And I'm going to move us on as quickly as I can because we are here to celebrate. We have had a ton of things going on this year. And we are so thrilled that we have our 4 new nonprofit partners. And after awarding their grants, we have now, in our 19 years, granted out over $5.5 million as an organization to 51 organizations, which is, well, 51 projects. There are a couple of duplicates in there in terms of actual organizations. This is just it's just incredible what we've done. And I can't wait to see what we do in our 20th year. And I do want to share a little bit more with you in terms of our year in review. So there is a lot of data I could have shared with you about our own personal work here at Impact 100, the board and our great volunteers. But I think that stories are more important. As Brene Brown says, stories are data with a soul. And we just saw some beautiful souls this year, especially during our Live at Impact 100 events during the summer, which we had 12 of. So the first story I want to share with you is the 2018 project, the Welcome House Mobile Health Outreach RV, has helped the team increase our patient reach by 324% over 2019 numbers in the first half of the year. Welcome House thought they'd see 200 to 300 individuals per year with the mobile medical unit when they applied to our Impact 100 grant process. They now see 200 to 300 people experiencing homelessness per month for urgent and regular medical needs, which is just incredible. The RV that Impact 100 funded for Welcome House's homeless healthcare outreach was legitimized the work, as Justin said, who was one of the team members, in the minds of the community. And subsequently, they've brought on new partners, including St. Elizabeth and NKU. It wasn't just a team going out with backpacks. It really made other Northern Kentucky organizations take notice. And at one point in our live series, Justin, who is, again, a Welcome House team member, said, this was just a dream we had. So the RV was just a dream. They thought, wouldn't this be amazing? So ladies, we make dreams come true, which I think is pretty amazing. Another one of our 2018 recipients, St. Vincent de Paul Charitable Pharmacy, they now have the ability to take every donation they've received, which has moved their prescriptions filled by donation from around 70% to 90%. And they've also, because they're in a larger space, are able to actually fill those prescriptions because they have enough space to socially distance safely in their new space that we funded. And to give you some perspective on that 20% shift, that means that they are leveraging over $7 million worth of donated medications from our $100,000 grant, which is just bonkers to me, you guys. It's so impressive. Next, we have the Washing Well by Community Matters. They were a 2014 grant recipient and opened the Washing Well in 2016. So far, in the 4 years since they started operation, they saved $800,000 since its opening in transportation costs alone. So this doesn't account for reduced pricing of doing laundry. And again, to put this in perspective, that would be, if you took the median price for a home in the neighborhood, that would be the cost of 30 homes that they have saved this community, which is so amazing. Great job. Wave Pool, which was, I believe, also a 2018 recipient, went from serving 75 families monthly with their food boxes to over 400 when the pandemic started overnight. They've also created a line of frozen dinners made by their immigrant home chefs that are available for purchase. They would not have been able to do any of this work without our grant. Before our grant, they had a 700 square foot studio space. That was it, and they would have just had to shut down. Instead, because of our grant and their new space, they were able to leverage it to support the entire community. Great job, Wave Pool. So in terms of our work at Impact 100, we've done some great stuff, but one of the things I think we are all most proud of is our diversity, equity, inclusion work this year. And that has been spearheaded by Deepika, our equity chair. And I cut this because we're running out of time, but we actually had around 30% of our members engaged in our equity experiences this year. And Deepika is going to take a moment to share a little bit with you about what that looked like.
Thank you, Sarah Grace. Yes, it's been an incredibly interesting year, to say the least. And I'm trying to get us back on track with time, so I'll be very quick. We have our DEI committee has, the core committee has 10 people, 10 members, and then the extended committee has 15 members, but these 15 women are incredibly powerful. They rock and roll. The last year when we started the equity discussions, we had maybe 12 to 15 members participate in the 3 conversations. But this year, more than 60 women participated, some of them attending multiple sessions. And we had amazing, rich discussion on the concepts of race, systemic racism, and inequities in the criminal justice system. Next slide, please. We are really incredibly proud of the success of these discussions. The Just Mercy discussion we did in alliance with the Mercantile Library, and that was super successful thanks to our new member, amazing Vashti Rutledge. And at the end of that session, we had the honor of having the Cincinnati Municipal Court Judge Alan Triggs and his wife, a mental health professional, Alicia Triggs, who talked to a small group of Just Mercy cohort. Around 30 women attended the session, and it was really powerful to see the impact of systemic racism here itself in Cincinnati. Next one, please. And we had another amazing discussion about the documentary, The 13th on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, highly, highly encourage it. It's about it's about the fight on drugs, and Kyla Woods really took the lead on these discussions. Again, these discussions were done over a 3-month period, and the women kept showing up every month and again and again. So we wanted to dig in and stick with that uncomfortable realities. The next slide, please. We had Nicole Mora, who led a cohort on the power of an illusion, the race, the power of an illusion. It's a documentary that's available on the Cincinnati Library website. Each of these discussions had nearly 20 members participating in them. And some of them actually registered for more than one of these cohorts. And we're really thankful for the members to participate, and it was really encouraging to see that it's not that they came out of the conversation and said, we have to do something about it, and we have to, the members, their passion towards race and equity was really clear at the end of these conversations. Next slide, please. So moving forward with this important work, we have 4 subcommittees. We have the Membership Education Subcommittee. That is the committee that brought this amazing equity conversations to light and had that robust conversation among our members. We hope to continue doing these conversations next year. We have a recruitment subcommittee which sponsors events on Empowered Girl Talk and tries to make our organization more robust and diverse and represent the wider community. Then we have the education subcommittee, the board education subcommittee, and then the equity subcommittee. The equity subcommittee is working on how do you make grant making more equitable. So if you're interested in any of joining any of these committees or participating in this amazing work, we're really looking to have more of you engaged in this space. So please feel free to email me. And again, thanks to our phenomenal 15-member committee that's very mighty and powerful. Thanks, Dr. Grace.
Thank you, Deepika. And thank you to the DEI committee for sure. Next, we are bringing it home, guys. We've got our ever joyful membership chair, Shannon Young, here to give you an update on our 2021 membership. Shannon, I hope you're still there.
I'm here. You see me?
I do.
Hi. Hi. Oh my gosh. And then somebody's calling me. What a day. Oh my gosh. So I'm looking at all of these names and I'm wishing I'm seeing your faces, and I hate that we didn't get to see each other this year. I'm looking at Becky on the list, Caroline, Barb, Janet. It's just a bummer, but we're super excited to be getting ready for 2021. I think everybody's ready to turn the page. And so what I want to do now is announce to everyone where we currently stand for memberships for 2021. So Sarah Grace, you want to get that slide ready for me. This is my pitch to have you, yes, $267,000 already committed. So we are almost already at 3 full grants funded. And so I'm saying, if you haven't let us know yet that you're in for next year, or your friends haven't let us know, please tell them to email membership@impact100.org. That's membership@impact100.org. That's me. This is what I'll be doing, is knocking on everyone's doors, not really, but like emailing everybody, texting. We're going to texting this year too, just to see if you'll join us again, because that is just more money that we can put into our wonderful community. Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. And Shannon isn't just joyful, she is persistent.
That's right.
Definitely give her an email and let her know what's going on with you for next year. Thanks so much, Shannon. And on to our lovely recruiting chairs. Stacy, would you like to take it away on our raffle?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Stacy Gendelman. I'm one of the board recruiting chairs, and I'm here to announce our raffle winners. If you recall, for recruiting, we did 3 different raffles this year. The first one was to anyone that hosted a watch party for our annual award celebration. You were entered into a raffle. The second one was if you joined for 2021 on the night of the annual award celebration or prior, you were entered into the raffle I'm about to announce the winners of. And our third one we'll talk a little bit more about, but it was for if you were a top recruiter for 2021. So our 2 raffle winners, again, join the night of the AAC or prior. Our first winner will receive a gift card to Robin Wood Flowers, which is over off Dana, I believe that's Evanston. But our winner is Ann Kime. Thank you, Ann, for joining us. Our next slide, our next winner will be receiving this fabulous charcuterie board from City North and a gift card to Urbanstead Cheese. Both of these business owners are members and have made this generous donation. And the winner for this raffle is Julie. I'm probably gonna mess this up, but Julie Bogish, I think is how you say it. Congratulations. Anne and Julie, we will be in contact to see how we can get you these gifts. Again, thank you, Robin Wood, City North, Urbanstead for your donation, along with these other donors. These are all local businesses that went above and beyond to make these raffles possible. If you would do us a favor and thank our donors by supporting them when you can, visit those local businesses. And thank you to our recruiters. that have helped us so far for 2021. If you would like a chance to be entered to win one of those nice gifts from local businesses, all you have to do is help us recruit for 2021. This obviously will help increase our grant pool. And Barb is going to, our other recruiting co-chair, is going to take it away here on a little more info. She's with us.
Just really, really quickly, I want to thank everyone for doing their part to help with recruiting. You are an important part of our recruiting team. And what that means is every time you share the story of Impact 100, and as important, why you value being an Impact 100 member with your friends, coworkers, neighbors, you are really helping to increase our membership. And as you all know, the size of our grant fund is determined by our membership donations. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are also really looking forward to 2021. We will continue to have our live series, our Step Up series, and maybe even a couple Spread the Words. We're hoping, we're hopeful, but we want to stay connected with you. Know you can always reach out to Stacy and myself at recruiting@impact100.org. And we are happy to also chat with any of your friends or anyone who you think might be interested in having a conversation about Impact 100. We would be happy to spend that time with them and welcome them. So thank you again for all that you do, and it does take a village. So thanks again.
Perfect segue, Barb. It does take a village. We're not just, we are completely membership based, which means we run the show, we review the grants, we do all of it. And so here to tell you about how you can get involved in 2021 is the wonderful Miss Kathy Thornton.
Thanks, Sarah Grace. Yes, my name is Kathy Thornton, and I am privileged to serve with many, many wonderful women on the board as a grant review coordinator. And it's been a crazy year for all of us, and we're really hoping that you are inspired, as I am, around hearing the stories of both our current recipients as well as some of our past recipients. So you'll see before you a timeline of where we have been. We've already kicked off the 2021 cycle by sponsoring 4 different sessions for our nonprofit community and who may be thinking about applying for us. And I'm here to invite you and encourage you to be part of this mission-focused process of reviewing our grants and helping to select the finalists for our membership to vote on. So I'm encouraging you to be part of the action by joining a focus area committee or joining our community investment review committee that we call CIRC. There will be both daytime and evening virtual meetings. We will be kicking these off in late January because it takes the month of January for us to get all of our membership stuff in order, to get the grants organized. You will remember that the grants this year are due on December 11th. If you know somebody who perhaps still hasn't decided to apply and they want to, they can go to our website to do so. So you can go today to our website, impact100.org, and go to volunteer. And there's a big blue button there that says members to join a committee. And you'll see all 5 of our focus area committees and our CIRC committees, the days they're meeting, and evening and daytime meetings. So please consider being part of the action. It is the heart and soul of the work that we do to bring these incredible nonprofits transformative grants that help us throughout our community. Thanks. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at grants@impact100.org about the cycle or any questions. I'd be happy to answer any of those questions as well. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kathy. And I swear we are so close to being done. Thank you for hanging in with us. I really, really, really appreciate it. So to recap, please share Impact 100 with your family and friends and community. Feel free to sponsor Impact 100 if you'd like. If you think that our membership might be a good fit for your sponsorship dollars, please connect with us. We would happily and wholeheartedly take any extra funds you have for next year. Join Impact 100 for 2021. Please join us in this great work we're doing. And we ask you, if you're going to join, to potentially step up to 110% membership, which means that you, instead of paying $100 or $1,000, you pay $1,100 to help us with overhead. And what is our overhead? Well, this year, even in this year of skinny down budget, of social distancing and less events, it still is going to take us about $123 per member to make sure that we can do the work of impact. And that's why the 110% membership is so important. So please consider increasing your membership, or if you've got a company match, consider directing that to us as well. We would, it would be a world of difference for us. We would really appreciate that. And before we sign off for the year, since this is our last event, I have to take a moment to say thanks. As you may or may not know, Impact 100 has no paid staff. We are 100% run by a volunteer board of directors with the help of our insanely talented outsourced administrator. In a recent interview, Dolly Parton said, "Love is the answer to all of it." And that's what this board does best, love. Love our community, love our organization, and love each other. Thank you to each of these courageous, talented, and hardworking women for loving the heck out of all of us and making 2020 a success in spite of it all. And we want to take a moment to say a special thanks to those who are leaving the board this year, which they can be found highlighted in yellow. Your impact has absolutely 100% been felt, and we are so very grateful to you. And we have to thank our Chief Party Officer, Fran, her fantastic sidekick, Rose, and our lovely administrator, Jen Williams, for making sure that these events actually happen. And while we're only 8 minutes over, we're only 8 minutes over. So they're doing a pretty good job. Thank you, ladies, so much. And lastly, please consider joining us for 2021. It's our 20th year, 20 years of making impact in our community. It's very simple. Just go to impact100.org/join. And folks, thank you so much for hanging in. That's it. I hope you have a lovely, lovely holiday season. Bye-bye.